I said, say something.
You good?
Say something, woman.
I can talk. Thank you so much.
Say something, woman.
Good morning. Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show this morning. It is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real. Let me start off the day by saying, oh my God, it's beautiful outside. In spite of everything crazy that's happening around us. The conversation today, I'm pretty sure, is going to be weighty. So I am letting people know ahead of time that, you know, contextually, some of this show content is going to be uncomfortable. And we have to talk about the outcome in the Tyre Nichols case and to hear his mother, uh, what she said on the stand. And since the verdict has come out, nothing short of, um, as a mom, possibly, some of the most painful stuff you can imagine. She is in a unique club of Black mothers who have had their children killed at the hands of law enforcement and have received little to no relief in the courts. So we'll be talking about that. And, right before we brought the mics up, I had just looked at an article in the Journal Sentinel, hadn't read it yet, but the caption read, basically, I'm paraphrasing, a 17-year-old uh, young child inadvertently killed his mother as he was trying to defend her in a domestic dispute. And, Jermaine and I both just letting that sink in, that as you are trying to protect your mother from an abusive situation, you mistakenly end up taking her life yourself. So a lot to get to today. Again, a weighty conversation. It's not one of those shows, for the youngest of the young. I'm just going to tell you that right now because of some of the subject matter, not the entire show. But I do want to put, um, those kinds of warnings, if you will, about content this morning. Let me say good morning to the bros in the studio. What's up, Jay? How you doing this morning, fam?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm just, as a parent, just listening to the headline of that story. That just does something to me. Um, First off, just knowing that some of these kids is growing up seeing their mom or their dad, in violent situations, and the what people don't understand is these kids, they got feelings too, and the stuff that you do to them and or to their parents, man, they carry that stuff for the rest of their life.
Right.
And for this situation right here to be 17 years old, and I always tell people, that when you have your parents, mama and daddy, you, you love both of them, but it's something about your mama. Uh, you know, when we was in school, the kids would be ribbing and they'll say something about your dad, and you'll be upset, but you wouldn't be fiery mad if somebody was like, "Yo, mama, what you say about my mama?" So now it's a whole totally different element. So kids draw closer to their mother than they do fathers, which that's just natural. That's just the natural side of things. And for him to try to protect his mother from danger, and he ends up accidentally taking his mother's life, that mentally that's gonna do something to that young man.
So for folks that, let me just thank you, Jay, and let me get Debo. Good morning, Debo. How you doing this morning, bruh?
Top of the morning to you, Michelle. How are you?
I am straight. I am straight.
Good, good, good. Thanks for all of the accolades and so forth that were given on yesterday morning. I certainly Appreciate that.
Who gave out accolades?
You did.
Nobody.
You did. It was one in particular. It was one in particular that I heard that really rang out.
Nobody.
The one that she gave that rang out for me was, that was a nice Nike suit you had on, dude. I heard that part. You know,
Yeah, she said that it was the dry fit, so we know.
it was the dry fit. It was.
Yeah, because all of the other times though you wear the wet fit, so we don't want to see the wet
I
fit
don't
no
have
more.
any wet fits.
Don't
have any wet
don't you
fits.
wear that moist suit no more. Don't you wear that moist suit?
So it's wet or loud.
It's
or
moist.
dry.
I'm
just-
right.
I'm
Wet
just
loud.
saying. Just
You got all the elements
all
in your
of the
suits.
accolades. Everybody give you those
This is a
accolades.
dry that I have on today as well, sir. This is a dry.
Oh,
fit as well.
it looked kind of moist over there, but okay.
Looks can be deceiving. Can be.
Can y'all stop? Y'all so ridiculous. You can't just
Now
This
back to
cake.
you, Michelle.
leave the sandbox together. Never. Just can't never do it. Let me go to the phone line. Got a caller on the phone line, and I'll get into some of this stuff. Hey caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Miss Bryant. This is Angela.
Hey Angela, how you doing this morning?
I'm blessed. And yourself?
Debo ain't nothing.
Good
I'm
morning,
good.
Mr. Debo.
Hey, Angela, how you doing,
Debo
baby?
ain't
I'm
nothing.
well.
Just so you know, I did send
Hey.
Michelle that number yesterday.
I didn't see it until
Okay.
midnight.
Hey,
I didn't
Debo,
see it until
Debo
midnight.
ain't nothing,
Get
boy.
that up off of me right quick.
I didn't see it until midnight,
Boy,
but I
D-
got you today.
But
Angela.
anyway,
Debo.
I ride out how I
Anyway.
used to ride out.
What's going on, baby?
How you doing this morning?
Well,
Oh my God.
Cover
I'm
your
doing
kids'
good.
ears. Cover the kids' ears.
I'm doing good, love. How you doing?
That's good. That's good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Very, very, very well. This
Oh, very,
morning.
all right. Now, I like to hear
Very,
that.
You got any violin
very,
music
yeah.
over there, man?
very, very, very,
But
very
anyway,
well.
This sound kind of moist
the
too.
No, man, this
Debo,
kind of
I know
depth.
you ain't
It's
talking.
kind of depth.
Y'all sounding real moist over there.
Sound real depth over here.
They
You and
just
Angela,
haters.
moist.
Kind
Right
of
out.
depth.
Right out.
Yes, ma'am, baby. What's going
Me
on,
and
baby?
you know what's happening.
You understand me? Hey,
Yeah.
listen.
That's one thing to a giant.
What's
Oh.
understood don't even need to be said, baby.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
I cannot. Are y'all done?
Miss
'Cause
Bryant.
I got a show to do. Yes, ma'am.
Bryant.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Am I funny? I have
so
a 10:30 training this morning, so am I going to hear from you today?
Give y'all
Yeah,
the back
he sent me the number. I got it at midnight last night, so I got you.
Don't give him theme music.
At midnight.
That's what time I saw it. He
Mm.
sent it late.
D-Bo, I thought we was cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I sent
thought
it.
you
I
was
sent
gonna
it. I
catch
sent it
me
actually, Angela. I sent it when I heard you guys going back and forth during her show. Now, what
No.
tends to happen is now,
Zero.
I'm gonna be honest. I'll tell the truth. I did. I sent it about that time, but Michelle is very, very busy, and a lot of times she doesn't get to her phone, or she's
I
at
know.
a meeting, or she's got this going on, and sometimes it just falls through the cracks. But she's
Oh, no,
got it,
I-
and she'll get that call made.
I truly understand. I just be just messing with Miss Bryant, but I understand. I know she's a busy lady.
No, well, look, I got it now, so they know it's all on me. So I'm in there. I got you today.
You in there like somewhere, huh?
Yes.
Well, you all have a
Yeah.
blessed day.
Thank
And
Are you through with Jermaine?
Mr. Ride Out,
Yes,
Uh-oh.
baby. What's going on? baby?
we'll be doing lunch real soon.
Yeah, you understand me. I'm waiting on that lunch.
Can
you
you
know.
hang up?
How about
hang up.
tomorrow? Are you free tomorrow?
Let's see. Tomorrow.
Are you
Let's
singing
see.
Luther
I'm-
Vandross?
Just call
You give me
What's up?
background
Sing it,
music.
girl.
Give him some background music.
Yo,
I'm doing background
what
music for
you
him.
singing? What song is it?
If this world were mine,
Come on now.
that part.
I would
I'll
play
call you
Needed some
tomorrow.
moisture music.
All
to
right,
add to
all
it.
right, baby. Call me tomorrow.
all
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that part right
Bye-bye.
You've been so good to
there. What you and Angela got going on, man?
Hey, man. Look, it ain't none of your business, brother. Stay over there in your wet corner. You understand?
No, yours was a lot more wet than mine.
Mine was a little deaf.
Sing it, shit.
Now you got her singing this foolishness, man.
Call back, Angela. Angela, call back.
See,
Jermaine says, "Welcome to the quiet
well,
storm."
yeah, because when you call and talk to me.
Man, y'all ridiculous. I just want to say
It's
that
a little
out
much in
loud.
the morning.
Yeah,
Y'all-
I got 100 ways to love. You
Oh,
understand?
now you can
Oh,
find
you got my
100
James
ways.
Ingram?
Find 100 ways.
Okay. Go ahead, play that.
Okay. See, what
Play that.
happened was.
Because
So you want me to play that?
compliments
Oh, okay. Well,
what
gonna
she
play
does. This is my jam.
well,
And this is appropriate too as we lead into Mother's Day. Why not?
and I want to dedicate this to all of the mothers out there. This song is for you,
roses
Just because
Angela. This is for you.
violin she loves,
let
them play.
Hey,
Dedicate her favorite song and hold her closer all night long. Love her today. Find 100 ways. That was dedicated to all the ladies out there.
which to all the ladies out there. You know what? I'm done. I'm done with you. I am done. You know what? We do need to do a compilation of songs
Yeah,
for women.
yeah.
I wish I thought of that. Leading up to Sunday.
Yeah, that'd have been
I'll be
nice.
ready to do it on Monday. But a compilation. Well, then the world will be done broke loose and then I won't be able to do it. But I'm gonna tell you, I appreciate this moment of levity as I pivot to talk about some of the things that I highlighted when we opened up the show. For folks that had not heard this story, it is heartbreaking. A 17-year-old in Milwaukee accidentally shot and killed his mother while trying to protect her from an assault by his stepfather,
Oh, my
prosecutors
God.
say. The stepfather accused of domestic violence, Tyre Dalton, who is only 26 years old.
Wait a
He
minute.
is 17.
Wait a minute.
His stepfather is 9 years older than him.
Oh my God.
So you're not even actually literally capable of being this child's father. You are 9 years older than him.
Oh my God.
So Tyre Dalton
Oh my
God. Was charged on May 5th with felony murder in the case. The team fired the gun after Dalton threatened to kill him, his mother, and other family members, according to a criminal complaint. And I'm taking this story directly from the Journal Sentinel.
Man.
The shooting occurred April 18th in Milwaukee's King Park neighborhood. 2 other children, ages 9 and 11, were in the home at the time. The complaint cites a 911 call made by the woman that night when she reported being hit by her partner and her partner starting to beat her 17-year-old son and threatening to kill him. The recording captured a man screaming in the background, then 10 gunshots. After the shooting, the woman's children, including the 17-year-old, told authorities Dalton assaulted her multiple times before, according to the complaint. Milwaukee police had been called to the family's address at least 6 other times since 2023 for reports of property damage, battery, and a person with a gun, according to Journal Sentinel, a Journal Sentinel review of police calls for service. The calls were made to the address of the apartment complex where the family lived, but it is unclear if they were the caller in every instance. The teen told police he arrived home and heard his mother trying to get his stepfather to leave during an argument. His stepfather threatened to kill him and his mother and began attacking his mother as she called 911, according to the teen's account to the police. That's when the teen grabbed a gun. Quote, he stated that he fired to protect his family and that he did not know that he had struck his mother until later, prosecutors wrote in the complaint. The teen also told police he had bought the gun used in the shooting, which prosecutors described as an assault rifle style pistol from Facebook a few weeks earlier.
What?
The teen was charged with possessing a dangerous weapon as a minor and possessing a firearm after having been adjudicated delinquent or found guilty in a previous juvenile proceeding.
Oh, no.
The Journal Sentinel is not naming the teen because he is also a victim in the case.
Oh, no.
The Milwaukee County DA's office did not immediately respond to a question about prosecutors' charging decisions. The teen's mom was taken to a hospital for treatment. She died from her injuries April 22nd, and the teen turned himself in to police on April 26th. Dalton was wounded in the shooting and taken to the hospital. He was under the custody of police as of May 7th, according to the department spokesperson. This is not the only time children have witnessed fatal domestic violence in Milwaukee. A child was present in at least 43% of 178 DV and family homicides between 2016 and 2022 in Milwaukee County, according to a Journal Sentinel investigation. The analysis has also found a small but rising number of retaliatory homicides as people tried to seek justice for loved ones experiencing domestic abuse and took matters into their own hands. At least 9 of those types of killings occurred from 2020 through 2022, according to the Journal Sentinel analysis, which is actually published in 2023. The family at the center of this most recent case is being helped by the Asher Project, said Antonia Drew Norton, the nonprofit's founder and executive director. The Asher Project provides culturally specific domestic violence services for African American women and others in Milwaukee. The prevalence of guns in homes worsens situations like this. She said people have to learn to address domestic violence. People have to understand the signs. She urged children witnessing violence in their homes to reach out to a trusted adult, such as a relative, social worker, teacher, coach, or someone else to share what's happening. Let somebody know what's going on, and some intervention can take place, she said. And then there is information. Domestic violence advocates can help with safety planning. Calls to advocates are confidential, do not involve law enforcement. There are a number of hotlines, domestic violence hotline 800-799-7233. The Sojourner Family Peace Center in Milwaukee operates a 24-hour confidential hotline. Phone number for them, 414-933-2722. The Milwaukee Women's Center has a 24-hour crisis hotline. The Women's Center in Waukesha has a 24-hour hotline. We Are Milwaukee provides information on culturally specific organizations. We Are Here Milwaukee. The Asher Project, which was mentioned in the story, the UMOS Latina Resource Center has a 24-hour hotline and service. The Gerald Ignace Indian Health Center, Ignace, I'm not sure how to say that. Culturally sensitive, trauma-informed services. Our Peaceful Home, which serves Muslim families and is a program of the Milwaukee Muslim Women's Coalition. They have a 24-hour, or they operate a crisis hotline as well. The Hmong American Women's Association, which serves the Hmong and Southeast Asian community. They also have a hotline and a phone number. And End Domestic Abuse Wisconsin has a statewide directory of resources where folks can get assistance. I got to take a commercial break. But one of the things that I have done frequently sitting behind this mic is talked about my own experiences with domestic violence in terms of growing up in a household in which it was prevalent, and ultimately making the decision to move out of our household because I just couldn't take it any longer. And, so when I come back, I'm going to take just a second because, again, this young brother is going to be messed up for a long time, if not for the rest of his life, behind the fact that he ended up taking his mom's life. Let me take a break. I'll be right back.
Here's your updated forecast. We'll see sunny skies here for today with a high in the low 50s. Winds out of the northeast around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Then for tonight, mostly clear with a low near 38. By Friday, sunshine, a high around 59 degrees. Saturday, plenty of blue skies and sun. We'll see high around 67. Sunday, we'll see some sunshine, high of 67. Monday, sunshine, a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on AM 860 The Voice.
Get ready, Milwaukee. The Church of God in Christ International Men's Ministry presents the Men's Perfecting Men's Conference 2025. Happening May 7th through the 9th at Christian Faith Fellowship Church, 8606 West Good Hope Road. This year's theme, Unfinished Business. There was not a man to till the ground, and we're calling all men to rise up and take their place. Come hear powerful voices like Bishop Darrell Hines, Wednesday, May 7th at 7 p.m. Bishop Roderick Hennings, Thursday, May 8th at 7 p.m. And presiding Bishop J. Drew Shear, Friday, May 9th at 7 p.m. This is more than a conference, it's a call to action. Register today. It's free. Men's Perfecting Men's Conference 2025, May 7th through the 9th at Christian Faith Fellowship Church, 8606 West Good Hope Road, Milwaukee. Be there. Be empowered. Be perfected.
All right, party people in the place to be. The party has already started.
And I got all my sisters a man.
to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, folks, welcome back. So took a minute to read the story from the Journal Sentinel, heartbreaking story. A 17-year-old young man who accidentally killed his mother trying to protect her in a domestic violence situation. Um, and, first of all, the idea that he had a stepfather that was only 9 years older than him. And I want to be clear, I had a stepmother that was 1 year older than me. So when people like, wait, what? Yeah, when my father married his second wife, she was 1 year older than me. He brought her to my high school graduation, and we all looked at him like, "Are you serious right now, bro?" Yeah, she had just graduated the year before me, and then they stayed married for a while, and I got 2 siblings out the deal, but I'm just like, for real, fam, like, because you already know this. I mean, what you think what kind of relationship me and her can have? Like, she 1 year older than me, man. So when I said 9 years older than him, I know people like, wait, what? Yeah, my stepmother was 1 year older than me. My daddy was real crazy, or is, he ain't dead, just real crazy. But I have said this before. I'm gonna say it every time the opportunity presents itself. When you are in these situations as adults and you bring your children and expose your children to this madness, I need people, to the extent possible, to please think about these kids and what they are learning and seeing. And while some people, finances can keep them in a bad situation, um, you know, just feeling trapped, actually fearful of their lives, that they have been told, if you try to leave, I will, harm you, kill your children. So there are a myriad of reasons why people stay. I understand that. I watched it with my mother. I understand that. But to the extent you can figure it out and find the wherewithal to put resources together, a plan together to get yourself and your children out of that situation, I beg people to do that, because the long-term damage is real. Even if the kids, come through, they become adults, you carry baggage with you from those experiences. I was just talking to a family member a couple of days ago, and he and his wife are divorced, but they raising, they raising a child, and a boy, and they were disagreeing, and it wasn't even nothing crazy and heated, but they disagreed about something in front of the boy. And the way the woman talked to the family member was so disrespectful and out of pocket, with the profanity and calling him all out his names, dropping MF bombs. It was just crazy sounding. And later we were talking about it, and I said, so I just want you to understand what y'all doing. Y'all are modeling behavior for this young boy that was watching y'all engage each other. And this is how y'all were engaging each other when you weren't even really mad at one another. Like, it wasn't no fists to cuffs, we about to throw down, I'm about to beat you. It wasn't even that kind of anger. This just common interaction. And people don't understand, you pass this poison to your children. I I've always advocated for, as long as you can let children be children, let them be kids. Parents back in the day, when they would tell kids, get out of grown folks' business, when a certain conversations would happen, they would tell them children to excuse themselves from the room. Your mama used to tell you all the time, get out my mouth. That meant go somewhere else. Grown folks is talking. Those things were done as protective measures for those children, because parents understood then these babies don't need to be exposed to everything. There's a time and a place for them to learn this stuff. And it's way too many grown people talk adultified and reckless in front of children. Profanity flies everywhere. And I'm not talking about that occasional, word that I drop. I'm talking about like guttural, nasty, foul, MFs, Fs, blah, that. It just sounds disgusting in front of these kids. And you strip away, their youth and their innocence, and you give this ignorant way of communicating to them that they will adopt in some cases, and it will show up in other places. And then they end up using this as the way they communicate. So, on behalf of these kids who frequently can't speak for themselves, I just implore people, if you are in relationships, whether it's domestic violence, verbal abuse, y'all just don't know how to respect each other as human beings and talk to each other with decency, man, don't do that around these children, man. Just don't do it. No child should feel like I got to pick up a gun to keep my mom safe or my parents safe. You shouldn't have to live like that. And some stuff we can control, and the other part, like, be honest with yourself. When you see certain things in the beginning of relationships that give you pause, red flags, make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, man, move around.
Yeah.
Move around.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here listening to you, Chef. And, it's a lot of stuff that we give passes to. Like when we're trying to start a relationship, like we'll see something and be like, oh, well, that's nothing. Or, yeah, that could be a red flag, but I'm gonna ignore it because I can change this person, or, this person to see me and want to be with me. And it's like we don't think it could happen to us, but then it do. But then when it do, it's too late.
Yeah, you in it now.
It's too
And
late.
and pay attention to all of it, not just the verbal outburst or the, push or the shove. Pay attention to people that exhibit signs of depression.
Yeah.
Because you can be with somebody and you like see these mood swings and you like, what's wrong with you? Or you find yourself trying to go out your way to lift people up. Like, yeah, it's stuff going on there, y'all.
And you know what? It used to be this thing that, people used to be like, if a person said, oh man, I'm gonna kill you, they say, he, I know you won't. And they, they giggling and laughing and, oh, he or she loved me. She wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. Nowadays, you got to take this type of stuff seriously.
Well, I'm gonna say even back in the day,
yeah,
I had a family
then.
member who, domestic violence, her husband killed her. Came into a bar. She was sitting in the bar and shot and killed her on the bar, on the bar stool. Because he thought something crazy was going on. Nothing going on whatsoever. So there's always been the reality that some folks face, that you have entangled yourself with somebody that is capable of this crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, even sometimes women won't move for themselves. Yeah. Please consider moving for these children. Yeah. Because as I told my mom, man, I ain't choose this. And I was 11. And when I left home, I was 12 and went to go live with my granddaddy. I'm like, man, I ain't signed up for this. You married this ignorant ass. Excuse me, man. I ain't doing this with you. My mother, I can't do it with you, fam. Nah, because I'm fighting him. So I know what this boy went through because I fought my stepfather. Like, I physically fought my stepfather to keep him off my mother. And my mother wasn't even thinking about it. But when they would get into it, my mother would run in my room trying to get away from him because my room was right next to their room. And so I could be asleep and woken up out of my sleep because my mother was running, trying to get away from this dude. And he would like come in my room, like he getting ready to start swinging. And I'm just telling y'all, I don't know what it has been about me my entire life. And that's why I tell people, you know, be a little bit forgiving in your ability to be, critical and judging people.
Yeah.
Because people will tell you I sound, and I talk a certain kind of way and I mean what I say.
Yeah.
That's based out of my childhood.
Yeah.
You're not gonna handle me crazy. You're not gonna, disrespect me. Like when I tell you that domestic violence mess changed my personality, my tolerance is zero for stupid. It's zero. And so bros be like, you so hard, Michelle. Yeah, I'm hard for a reason.
Yeah.
No, because I don't want you to even think you got the ability to talk crazy and handle me rough. And so, I finally had to just tell my mom, like, hey, Ma, I can't, because somebody gonna get hurt in this house, and
It ain't gonna be.
it ain't gonna be me. Because I ain't married this dude.
See, but you know what, Shell? This is years later, and you still talk with passion as if it's happening now.
Because you don't forget
because
it.
you don't forget
You
it. Because
don't
you
forget
carry
it.
it with you for the
And
rest
that's
of
what
your
I
life.
need women and men to understand.
Yeah.
You people like, I can forgive, but I ain't gonna forget. You don't forget them days of police being in your living room and taking your statements.
Yeah.
We call the police all the time on my ignorant stepfather. And taking your statements and somebody need to leave the house tonight and all this old nonsense. And then, well, I don't want him to go to jail. I ain't got time for that. But I was old enough and I had a grandparent who was like, she ain't got to stay over there. Come on.
A cousin who lost her life in a domestic dispute. This guy killed her with a hammer, took her up to Sheboygan and buried her. And for a week, he ran around with her mother and brother.
Oh my God!
With flyers talking about she's missing.
Wow.
And it wasn't until one of our cousins, who was a police officer, Cole, some of you may know him. He's retired now. I think he works at Krause or something now. But in any case, he went to his lieutenant, and finally they went ahead and sent the police out and met with us, because initially they kept telling us, we're not going to look for nobody that's grown. They have the ability to leave if they want to. She could just be, no, you don't understand. She loves her kids. This is out of character for her. She would not do this. So finally, when the detectives came out, the one detective wasn't there 20 minutes. He said, something ain't right here. He made us all sit at the dining room table. He said, we're not leaving here until we figure out what the hell's going on. So does anybody need water? Need to take a smoke break? Whatever you need to do, do it, because when you get back to this table, nobody's leaving here until we know what happened. Now, at the same time, they're in her bedroom, and then they put the luminol down and the blood came out. So they knew, basically, and a good friend of mine, he's departed now, he called me. He was the coroner, or he picked up the body for the coroner's office, Doug Patton. He called and said, man, we found her. She was buried in a shallow grave in Sheboygan. He took the shovels that he used to bury her and dumped them at the Y on Titonia and North while they were building that, so that the shovels blended in with the construction tools that were there. So it was a real hard and trying time for the family. But he only got 20 years.
That's it?
Yeah, Richard Bearings was his name, and her name was Crystal Nicole Sims.
He only got 20 years.
He got 20 years. She was 22. He got less than as long as she had lived. And her mother died a short time later. He was very cunning, and this dude hid the car on 28th and Clyburn.
I put the shovels at a construction site
he told
to blend in.
He told everything.
Man, you a methodical.
He put her car on 28th and Clyburn over there, and then mysteriously, I found her car. Yeah, he was something else.
Wow.
That's so. As is indicative of this moment, and caller, here I come. But as is indicative of this moment, many of us know folks that have come through, or been engaged or involved in these situations. Some folks who didn't make it out of them. This is a serious situation, and I wanted to give it the time that it deserves. And then the other subtle things that came up as a result of this. Debo, basically, number one, will people take the complaint seriously? I know that there have been, there was a time when officers will come to a house and just allow the dude to leave. They wouldn't, they wouldn't, or whoever the abuser was, they wouldn't take them into custody.
I think their rule of thumb now is whoever calls the other person is either leaving or going to jail.
And let me just say this real quick, because this is just the phrase you use, rule of thumb. I've mentioned this before. There is thought that phrase emanated from a law back in the day that said that a man could legally beat his wife as long as the instrument that he used to beat her was not as wide as the width of his thumb from that first bend to the tip. So roughly about an inch. I think on most people, if you measure from that first bend in your thumb to the tip of your thumb, it's 1 inch long. So the rule of thumb was that you could beat your wife because as long as that whatever you hit her with wasn't as wide as the rule of your thumb.
Do you know if that's still on the books?
No, of course that's not on the books. Damn. But it was crazy because there was anyway, there was a police officer that was actually doing a DV training, and I happened to be around when they was talking, and I was like, you don't even know the phrase that you're using, where that phrase originated from.
Right.
Let me catch this caller though. They've been waiting for a while. Hey caller, what's happening?
Hello, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. That situation you were saying about the kid shot his mother because he was trying to defend his uncle, that stems back into different eras of time. Just like you were saying in the old days when the mother told the kid, to leave and stuff because they don't want them to spare the situation between their parents. It's different now in a different area. And do you know that kids, when they were young like that, they developed this psychological problem as far as hating their parents as far as the women. Because when a kid do something, out of order and stuff, and the mother discipline them, they psychologically start building a hidden hatred towards women. And then when they get adulthood, they don't realize that they have this hidden hatred themselves until it explodes behind a diplomatic situation. And then when there occurs like that, then they realize that, they have this hidden hatred toward the women when it comes to death.
Okay. Well, and thank you, bro. Thanks for that insight. I will tell you, it's a lot of things that happen psychologically, emotionally to people, because there have even been young people that get frustrated, like, so you're going to discipline me and beat me, but this cat whooping you and you take it. You do nothing. And so kids get angry about that because they see the difference in the treatment. You won't defend yourself, but you're going to jump on me about something I did. So it can manifest itself in so many ways. I'm just saying, if you're in these situations, y'all, if you're not able to figure out a way out for yourself, please figure out a way
for the kids
to do as least amount of harm to your children as possible. Yes.
I was just going to say, a lot of this stuff too comes from, making choices off of seeing the person's appearance, and you might see that person's structure and be like, oh, I like him or her, not even knowing who this person is, not even knowing the values that this person carries. And you get entangled in in these relationships, and then you start having sex with them, and that's another bond that keeps you locked in with this person. And you missing all of the red flags, or you missing all of the signs that this person is not the one.
That's why that period of courting used to be so important back in the day,
because you
had time to ask questions, get to know people, get to see them over a span of time before you were just already in the midst of something.
Yeah, because
people sleep with folks before they know their last name.
Because once you cross that line,
I don't even know where you stay.
Yeah, like I don't even know your favorite color.
Yeah,
like I don't even know.
And I'm already, in
pouncing.
the most intimate situation I possibly can be with you. So you're right.
And then once you cross that line,
behind backwards.
Because then once you cross that line, you can't go backwards. So now your feelings is starting to grow because you've had that sexual encounter with this person.
Right.
I don't care what nobody say, though. You can be the coldest player in the world, but if you sleep with this person and you say you a pimping player, whatever, but you see that girl out there doing something else, you gonna act a fool because now you feel like she belongs to you. or he belongs to you?
Well, whatever we got to do better, and like I said, my primary goal is right now is because children don't ask to be put in these situations. And I say all the time, I talk about my grandson, the luck of the draw of who your parents is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that same brilliant child that's my grandson put in a different household
Yeah.
with different people. God only knows, what Atlas's life would be like.
Yeah.
So I won't languish there, any longer, but I will just say that we gotta do better. We gotta do better. Um, let me bring the conversation local for a minute. Uh, Last night, and let me see if I can go to Facebook and find it. And good morning. It's a number of people checked in. My phone is not by me, but I did see some Facebook hits in terms of my personal messenger. Folks saying good morning. Hey Alex, how you doing? What's up, D? Both Dion's. Good morning to y'all. But last night, let me see if I can find it. Uh my former Rep Myers and I were talking. Um, and she noticed a post on Facebook from Angela Harris that caught her attention. Angela Harris is a sister that, an educator, and uh, a lot of people, know who she is. Very vocal, active, talking about a number of things that go on academically in terms of local education. And so I'm looking for it on her page because I want to read directly from it. But the post, well, here it is right here. So she posted this 10 hours ago. I wanted to inform you that unfortunately, many of our athletes and coaches experienced some racist acts and comments from opposing athletes, parents, spectators, and refs at the Waterford meet. We made the decision to leave the meet early because we did not feel safe or welcomed. Please have your athlete email, and they provided an email address if something happened to them directly. We will be contacting the Waterford Athletic Director and the WIAA. We are truly sorry our athletes and coaches had to experience something so negative. And so, evidently, a group of kids from Rufus King um, went to a meet at Waterford Union High School, and they were called Niggas and Gangsters. And they said it was a combination of students, parents, uh, coaches, refs, not sure specifically who said what or did what, but the children from Rufus King were so uncomfortable that they ended up leaving because they were worried about their safety. It is unfathomable that in 2025, we continue to see us going backward in the way people engage around issues of race. And someone said, this is very disturbing and unacceptable. Discrimination is still a thing. Who will be held accountable for the actions that took place during today's track meet? Our students came to compete, not get harassed or taunted for the color of their skin. We only see one race, and that's the human race. When will history stop repeating itself? And, so we'll wait to see what response the WIAA will have in relationship to how these young people were treated. We know that we've seen other incidents of kids from urban centers, urban districts, urban schools going into suburban communities, and the N word is, written in the dirt, written in the locker room that the kids use, or in some other way, kids are exposed to racial animus. And it's just so crazy and disheartening that we continue to see a culture be created in this country, since people act like they stupid and they don't understand that diversity, equity, and inclusion is also something that's included in culture. And that the culture of this country right now, we are seeing a return to overt public displays of racism. Overt public displays of racism. There was a story, and I'm just trying to see if I can pull it up real quick, that a lot of people have paid attention to, about a woman who recently, let me see if this was the one. Yep. Okay. So a woman, outrage is spreading after a white woman in Rochester, Minnesota was caught on video calling a black autistic 5-year-old child a nigger at a local park. The viral clip shows the woman repeating the slur while being confronted by a man at Soldiers Field Memorial Park, sparking shock and backlash across social media. The Rochester NAACP says they are investigating and have vowed to hold her accountable for what they call a despicable racist act against a child. But the thing is that the woman ends up raising a bunch of money off of this incident.
So she can relocate.
I don't even know, and I'm just trying to figure out where is. Oh, here it is. 600,000. So this person named Shiloh Hendricks is filmed admitting she called this 5-year-old autistic child a nigger. I called the kid out for what he was, she wrote on her crowdfunding page. In the video, Hendricks is belligerent. She flips off the man who films her, even calls him a nigger. Now she's crying victim. Quote, I have been put into a very dire situation. The posted video have caused my family and myself great turmoil. She has raised $600,000 online because she is a victim.
And you know the whole crazy part about that, when they raised the money for the young man in Texas that had the incident,
Just like Kyle Rittenhouse, but go ahead.
they took that money down. They took that whole GoFundMe thing down, and they apologized
Yeah.
for raising the money for his defense fund.
I mean, it is
That's crazy.
scandalous that you got people that want to donate because this grown woman, A, was being messed up to a 5-year-old child who had a special need. You can remove race. Remove race.
But a child.
This a baby.
It's a child.
And you on the playground with your baby. So you wouldn't want anybody to handle your child like that. But you thought it was okay to demean a child. But I want to see if I can, where is it? Because the guy who posted the video is now being harassed and threatened. And he had to post a video saying, look, y'all, I'm the person who captured this woman calling this child a nigger. Now my family, and he has an autistic child himself. And he said, now my family is having to stay in the house because we're being threatened. How am I the bad guy in this situation?
Because Donald Trump is in office, and a lot of racism is now starting to come to the forefront because this is really how the people feel.
Donald Glover, this is America. This is America. Let me take a break. I'll be right back.
Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
Welcome back, family. Taking a second to talk about a number of issues that's going to lead me into the Tyre Nichols discussion. But this woman who called a 5-year-old autistic black child the N word and has been able to raise money. Now I see the report is over $700,000. And someone, I just picked up my phone because it had been on the charger, and someone said, first of all, the parent of a child who has autism said, "This is my fear for my son being on the spectrum. People can be so cruel and evil." Someone else had said, and I'm trying to figure out what, I know I saw their message, but it was like, but this is the thing. The bigger problem is, why is Christian GoFundMe group giving the racist white women the $700,000 in donations? Yikes. And so, just so people understand that comment, that this group is a Christian crowdfunding platform. It's called Give, Send, Go. And they've had to disable the comment section on this particular site for this post, because this is the kind of stuff that was getting posted there. White unity will unite. Black excellence fatigue. Aunt Jemima. White and strong. White rise. These young generations of whites are sick of the bullying, intimidation, and being made to shut up about race issues. White Texas mommy wrote before she contributed $50. They call us racist because we are white. Nothing will ever make them happy. They've been given trillions of dollars. They've been allowed into our schools and neighborhoods, forced upon us at every turn, and they still aren't happy. A donor, Hey Wild Rich, wrote before contributing $88. And so the comments, though, way more vile than some of these sentiments. And you're looking at the website, like, so you understand who you attracting and what you're doing. You understand, you're not Christians. See, and that's that frustration of Al, because you hiding up under the banner, talking about you God fearing and you Christian and you believe in the Bible, but you really are none of those things. You none of those things. You're using that as a shield for your racism and your ignorance. So this is so somebody said, do not apologize. Don't be afraid. These people are cowards and we will show them their time is up. They donated $10 and said, thank you for making a stand. What kind of stand did you make harassing a 5-year-old child? That ain't no stand as you hold protectively your own child. So that 5-year-old black child wasn't due protection. And it feeds into all of the crap that we know. That's why our babies at Rufus King High School can go to Waterford High School, Union High School, and get harassed and treated in the way they did. Because that's why white fragility in education requires that we can't talk about Black history. We can't tell the truth about the transatlantic slave trade, about how slavery, built this country was built on the back of enslaved people, what was done to indigenous people, because white kids won't be able to handle, learning that y'all ancestors did some of the most jacked up mess on the planet by like literally going to somebody else's continent and stealing people and bringing them here and dispersing them throughout the world to be your damn footstools and workers and take care of your children, breastfeeding your babies. Like, that's the part. And that today in 2025, you got somebody as dumb and as stupid as Donald Trump trying to tell an educated attorney in Jasmine Crockett, you low IQ. And you can't base that on anything other than the color of her skin. You want to say something?
I mean, my thing and what I fear is for these little kids like the 5-year-old that was been called the N-word. Some of these people that's donating, they might be school teachers, they might be daycare providers. And when you're not around and these kids don't understand what's going on, they just being a kid. They playful, they playing around, and you calling them the N-word and hostile. I mean, you got these feelings towards these kids, treating them all type of different ways. They don't understand the severity of what you're doing because they don't know what's going on.
But I'm gonna just say this: it's not gonna take them long to figure it out, though.
Oh yeah, after a while.
That's the sad part. And again, we stripping our children don't get to be kids. People, if we, and that's why this conversation again, all the way back to the DV thing, is so important that we protect and we understand these children have to have barriers and shields around them to give them what they need foundationally to be strong enough to get out here and be ready for what the world has waiting on them. And some of y'all not giving y'all babies what they need to be prepared, to be armed. One of the best things you can do is make sure they got a quality education, that they got a healthy understanding of our history. That instead of having them with their butts parked in front of a video game, you got them in a family room with a book open, explaining certain things to them. Those things. Somebody hit me up and said, I need you to go to Wikipedia and read what they say about this Give, Send, Go. Give, Send, Go is an American Christian crowdfunding website launched in 2015 as an alternate to GoFundMe. The site engages in limited content moderation, citing freedom of speech, has attracted controversy for far-right extremists to fundraise, including neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and hate groups. The site has been identified as an alt-right platform that caters, or an alt-tech platform that caters to the alt-right. And, so they go on to just talk about, like what you do here. But just think about this, y'all. All of these battles and fights we have fought, and we are still finding ourselves coming back to some of these same old issues. And we've given them trillions. You stole trillions in free labor. Homicides that went atoned and unaccounted for. So I have not talked about that story because it just, you get tired sometimes. You get tired and you sound like a broken record, and you become the problem because you got to be the one to highlight injustices. And it's easier for people to tune you out because every time they see you, you lamenting what's going on. People use Give, Send, Go for January 6 rioters. The information identified previously anonymous high dollar donors. Hang on, let me see. Oh, here we go. The information identified previously anonymous high dollar donors to far right actors, including members of the Proud Boys. Kyle Rittenhouse's name comes up in relationship to this site. Today, USA Today used the Give, Send, Go data to report that nearly $100,000 was raised for the Proud Boys on Give, Send, Go from people of Chinese descent in the days before the 2021 Capitol attack. The Koch family, a member of their family, had anonymously donated to the crowdfunding campaign to support 2020 election fraud conspiracy theories. So, there are people out here creating alternative formats. Do we have an alternative crowdfunding? So when there are victims of crime that are Black folks, we can give money to help them get a lawyer to try to fight some of this nonsense. You see what other people do? I don't know. We may have one. I don't know about it. But do you see what other people do? They create up a web of support for their ignorance and their stupidity.
They setting up for the long run.
The only crowdfunding we doing is to bury somebody.
Yeah.
But we're not doing crowdfunding so that when a child is ready to go, I say this all the time. Yeah. When a child is ready to go to college, who got something on it?
Yeah.
How many, back in the day, y'all think I'm playing? I had Black churches that was sending kids to college.
That's true. That is true.
They had $10,000 scholarships. If they couldn't front the whole ride, they had $10,000 scholarships. They like, instead of like, oh, we got to have the latest, greatest, fanciest building, they was making sure members of their congregation was getting the education. And then those kids in turn get good money, good jobs, can come back and help support these churches. And, in the barbershop, cats pass the hat to make sure that a kid has something. If they knew you was leaving, I have been in the barbershop many a day when we knew kids was leaving to go to school and, bruh's got to take that cap off and passing that cap. Make sure this boy got some money before he get up out of here. Where is our crowdfunding for us to take care of us? Other than a funeral, when do we understand the significance of saying we got to be able to position ourselves to help people in our community when they come up against this kind of madness? Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello?
Hey, Michelle, I'm sorry I'm listening to you.
No, you're all right. Hey, what's happening?
This is so frustrating to hear this, Michelle. It just irks my heart that, like you said, in 2025, we're still dealing with this ignorance. But see, this is what happens. See, this racist, sexist country that raised its head, following, what did you say, ignorance and foolishness, and they done fell into the trap again because it's hurt them too. And you wonder when they're going to get tired of the nonsense, Michelle. I was watching TV the other day, and I guess the young man, if that's what you want to call him, that they caught with all the guns, and the 14-year-old girl that was following him that shot up those people at school.
Right.
She was talking about going into Black churches to kill more people.
Yes, I had heard that.
And I wish I would have sent this thing to you about this one group that they have. This one dude, I don't know if you ever seen him. He's a white young man. He's in a wheelchair. I guess he has some deformity, and how he has started this social media platform, and how it evolved into all these racist people with these groups on there. I wish I could remember the name of it. I should have sent it to you as soon as I was watching it. But you said something yesterday, and I was listening. I even stopped commenting on them. But then you got our favorite caller calling on the show, like you said yesterday. You twisting yourself in knots to support this, and like you said, Michelle, I don't understand how any, whether it's 20%, 2%, how any Black person could get behind this stuff because they see what's going on. it's just head scratching. Like you said, you twisting yourself in knots to follow this guy. And I wasn't gonna say this. I said leave it alone, George. But he came on. I think it was Friday. You have to ask Jermaine, because Jermaine got him. I think what's the young man's name that comes on Keith Show on Friday? Forgive me, Michelle. Sometimes I forget. DJ got on because he called on the show and called Jasmine Crockett a clown show. This intelligent lady, and I'm like, think this. It sounds like this brother.
Yeah, you're not gonna do that.
Debo got it too. It's just like when you listen over the years, I wonder if this brother got not just with black women, period, because he called in and talked about the congresswoman. He ain't never says nothing about MTG. Is that what her name is, MTG? But it's just like I don't get it, Michelle. Something's going on in this country right now. We better be prepared, and that's why I call sometimes and I get on us about how we do one another. We should be thick as thieves, white as rice. Over the weekend, since Friday or Saturday, we done lost 7 people, Michelle.
Right.
To violence and murder. I don't get it, Michelle. I just sent you 2 things off my Ring doorbell of what our young men are doing all night long. Roaming 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, stealing people's cars. It's ridiculous, Michelle. But I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to let you go. Y'all have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you, bro. I mean, on all sides of the coin, the equation, we got work to do. While we clean up our own house, we still have to stay vigilant. And this is the part that can become deflating, defeating. You just, like, when I saw them 3 brothers hug each other after the verdict of Tyre Nichols, Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Justin Smith. They were facing 7 charges, including 2nd-degree murder, aggravated assault, and the beating death of Nichols, Tyre Nichols. This happened back in 2023. He was stopped in a traffic stop on his way home. This brother posed no threat. He didn't fight these officers, didn't cuss, didn't act a fool, and they stopped this man. They beat this man and put him in a state of cardiac arrest, and ultimately this man ends up dying. His mother, some of the details that she provided on the witness stand, I've never fully heard all of his injuries. But by now, if you've seen the news reports and accounts, and you hear it from his mother's mouth when she says, and the police lied to his mother at the scene about how they engaged him. But when the mother says she gets to the hospital and she says his head is the size of a watermelon from the swelling where they had beat him, that his nose was broken and his neck had split open from all of the pressure of the swelling from the beating. There was not an element of this boy's body that did not go beaten and bruised and impacted. And what some of these officers have said is, this is the way we was trained. I did what was within the scope of my training. As people know, this happened in Memphis, Tennessee. And what they have done in that case is they moved the jury selection. They moved everything to Chattanooga, and an all-white jury who came back and said, nope, officers did nothing wrong. And they got acquitted of every charge that was brought before them in this case. One black man officer talking about, well, all I did was kick him in his arm. I got to the scene last. And to help subdue him, I kicked him in his arm. By the time you kick him in his arm, what resistance is being offered up? So I really shouldn't be catching aggravated assault charges because that's my training. Go kick them in the arm if they already being beat to a pulp and on the ground damn near lifeless. That's my training. Like when I tell you how disgusted I was with these brothers, and I mean I'm being real kind using that word, but the idea that, and some of these men, members of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, black men, college educated, brothers who I'm believing you became a police officer to be a part of the solution, not the problem. But then you want to fit in so bad with Back the Blue that you forget that you black and you think you only blue. And so they found an all-white jury to be able to help clear y'all. But if them 3 black men had been responsible for beating a white man that way, I bet you that all-white jury would not have found them innocent. And them black men sitting there, they know it. So your attorneys intentionally went out of the way to find an all-white jury in another, and so that whole jury of my peers. How did no single black person make it onto the jury in this case? How does that happen? And then you whooped them in Memphis, but we going to Chattanooga.
Chattanooga, one, they knew how the people felt about the shield. They knew that if they can get some white patriotic people that believe in the shield that these black officers carried, and the shield really protects the white, but if you hide under the shield, it's going to protect you too.
And you got a combination. People that believed in protecting the shield and that also don't value black life.
And you put it all together.
It's a combination.
In the whole area.
It's a combination of those things.
Yeah.
You protecting that blue shield and you don't value black life.
You don't value blacks. And
because if that had been a white boy beat the way that boy was beaten by them very same officers, all of them would have been put under the jail.
I mean, think about the shell. If it was reversed, if it was white people that did it to a black person and they moved the case from a white area to an all black area and got all black jury, then what you think is going to happen to them white officers?
Right.
So reverse the role.
And you'll never get an all black jury trying white police officers.
Ever.
You'll never get that. And so that whole, the story that came out about the brother whose son was killed by a police officer, and he ultimately ends up killing an officer the next day after he sees the video of his son being killed. And people don't understand it. I understood it right away.
Me too.
You can't say that, but I understood it right away because you turn to the courts for justice, and this is what you get.
Yeah.
And every black person is sitting there shaking their head like, So had this been reversed, and the victim was a white man, none of y'all would be going home. And then just to see them brothers, what they relief, patting they white lawyers on the backs, and they, it just was all so disgusting. And then the black chief of police in Memphis comes out talking about, we got to do what we can to earn trust again in the community. You didn't have any in the first place. I agree with the people that have said that. But this was the other thing. Black female chief of police down in Memphis. The city of Memphis was trying to detach themselves from these men saying they didn't get trained like that here. We don't want to be included in the civil case against these men, these officers. They're your police officers, though. They did this while in your uniform. The family is suing the Memphis Police Department for like $550 million. So that's the other part that's always disgusting. Y'all know y'all wrong. You know what your people did was wrong, but you try to figure out how not to pay people. We know these police officers stood on Sterling Brown's ankles and singing money, money, money in the squad car as you just rack up BS overtime. But then the city, how can I lowball you or not pay you on a civil lawsuit? That's the part of it that's so disgusting. Well, we got to protect taxpayers. I am a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer that you messed over. I got to take a break. I'll be right back.
Six point five FM WNOV, The Voice. Now, back to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back. Taking some time this morning to talk about, where we are, both as a country, as a nation, a people, that we continue to go down this ugly road of racism and division, based solely on, the color of someone's skin. And people didn't appreciate the slogan Black Lives Matter and why it was necessary to say it, why it was necessary, because when you realize that just by virtue of skin color, that people can be afforded privilege and access, which those people have traditionally been white, and that black people have had to fight, and allies have had to fight for every ounce of humanity and respect and equity and fairness that we have received to date. And that there's this constant chipping away and an erosion. The text messages that are coming through my phone right now are sickening. Whether I'm talking about a mother who is still, talking about the death of her son at the hands of law enforcement, the racist way in which the case was handled, the fact that an outside judge gets brought in because of just some of the big issues around, the way her child died, to another mother who is saying that, the city right now is should be taking up a settlement situation in which my child was mishandled by the police department. But they're going to do everything they can to fight you, to keep from paying you, even when, they know they wrong. And again, I'm and the city attorney's office will tell you, well, we have to protect the city of Milwaukee. Who the hell you think is the city of Milwaukee? I'm a resident of the city of Milwaukee. So how do you make the decision to protect this portion of Milwaukee, but not protect this portion of Milwaukee? It's all nonsense. Those same protections apply to me. But if I have to sue the city, I'm the enemy. When you know what your people did was wrong and out of order. Let me go to the phone line. I got people that's been holding for a minute. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
What's going on, Yusuf? How you doing this morning?
So let's talk about, on Sunday, there was a documentary released at the Milwaukee Film Festival called Psycho. It is the documentary of the Tyre West killing by Mount Pleasant police sergeant, and how it basically, this man was not held accountable at all. He basically executed this young man 2 gunshots to the forehead. And then this jury's verdict, what it's saying is that police officers will not be held accountable for killing African American men. That's what this verdict is saying. And so I gave your coworker a couple tickets to go see the documentary. I'd like for him to speak to that. And I just want to say that there has to be something done. There has to be something done, because the public is outraged at this verdict, that these men were not held liable. Some of them pled guilty and took a lesser charges or whatever it was. But what this is saying is that police officers can just go out and kill black men and nothing will be done about it. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. No, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. And I will certainly, because I am going to have a conversation about Tyrese. And just to remind people, Tyrese West was the 18-year-old young brother who was riding his bicycle.
Yes.
Riding his bike, and he was stopped because the police said his bike didn't have a light on it.
Yes.
How do you
kept it hidden, Michelle? They kept it hidden. So it happened on Juneteenth morning. And so the same day they were changing the name of 21st Street to Karan Butler Boulevard. They kept it hidden. They misidentified the young man as somebody else. They kept it hidden because you had about 10,000 people that was at the John Bryant Center celebrating Juneteenth, and they knew that if the people had found out, so they kept this hidden. You need to somehow. I need to get you a way to see this documentary. But
I'm definitely gonna see it. I'm gonna see it.
Okay, thank you for letting me share.
Yeah,
right.
No, I appreciate it, bro. Oh, dang. Sorry about that. We cut you too quick. But yeah, ultimately in this case, the officer, Eric Weiss, the district attorney decided not to file any charges against Officer Geis, stating that the use of force was justified and fell under self-defense. He shot him twice in the head. What did I say about my nephew, though? My nephew shot somebody twice. They said the first bullet was enough to stop him. The second bullet, you're going to jail for the rest of your life at 18, 19 years old. The level of latitude and discretion given to police officers, and then you got the Trump administration and Donald coming in talking about full immunity. No matter what you do as a police officer, you shouldn't be able to be held accountable. Full immunity. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth applies to all these situations, and that actually happened recently. 2 days ago with the gentleman who wound up using his car to take vengeance for his son who was running away, who was shot by a police officer.
Right.
And I think that you'll probably see more of because of the helplessness that people feel when you take, the life of a family member and then go to another city where you'll get an all-white jury. Had they killed a white person like Jermaine said, they would have wanted that jury to be in Memphis where they had black jurors. And so just them being able to do that, I have to say that you were correct in being very kind and calling these devils brothers because they are Confederates, Michelle. And I think that's when you say we have a lot of work to do, that's my thing. I know you've heard me say it many times. Confederates and Confederates which there were those during the Civil War who fought against their own who were black, and there were slave catchers who would, help our ancestors be kidnapped. We have people who will insult whatever idiot I tuned in late would insult a woman who has 97 pieces of legislation in a year and a half, who would be more qualified to be president after just a year and a half in politics than the people that we have in the cabinet and even the president. But you're insulting them with ignorance because you didn't even take time to find out. And I have a good idea who that probably was, even though I tuned in late. So I'd like to call them on that and do that fact check. And I think that's my part of the work that can be done, is just telling the truth about it and encouraging others. This is a Confederate movement. When Jermaine said patriot, yeah, they are patriots, but to the Southern Confederate cause to keep us in or as close to bondage as they can. And so that's what I'm going to call them every time I call here. And that's what I call them every day in my everyday walk of life. Confederates and Confederates. So I'm going to call your show.
All right. Thank you, bro. I appreciate the call.
God bless.
Yes, sir. Got another caller. Let's get them in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Hey, what I was thinking, the cases you're talking about down in Memphis, that's not over with yet, is it? I mean, wouldn't the federal people pick that up?
So they did go through a federal process already, and the more severe charges they were acquitted at the federal level of. They did sustain some charges, and they're awaiting sentencing on those charges, but the most severe charges, they were acquitted of those charges.
Oh, wow.
Of this particular three. Now, there were some that pled guilty to lesser charges, as the previous caller said. But yeah, these three, they've already gone through the federal process. They're just waiting on sentencing now from that.
Okay, and another thing, I would think somebody would want to investigate. This was moved to a different city, and a prosecutor was interested in making sure that these people get convicted. Wouldn't he want to make sure there was some black people on the jury?
Well, I mean, somebody.
Again, it seems like it's a cahoots here. This is already pre-planned. To me, I'm just taking an educated guess.
Right.
If I want to win, and why wouldn't I? I mean, come on. I can understand the defense attorney wants all the advantages that he got, but why wouldn't the prosecutor make sure that one or two blacks are on the jury? See, it's a game. I'm surprised that no one came up with a term. This is something like a Trump thing, like people use the word ghost and different meanings. I mean, when you see things like this, I mean, the way you describe this person, the way he was beaten, how in the hell could they find these police innocent? Even if they were trained, you also trained to stop at a certain point. It's overkill, So it's just crazy that they could not see that this is overkill. And I don't care if somebody says it's training. In training, they teach you to stop at some time through the process, especially if the person is down and not fighting. So it's crazy.
All right. Thank you, bro. I appreciate the call. So I went and pulled some information. And I want to just double check this, but they talked about the number of registered voters in Chattanooga, Tennessee, because you think about most times jury selection is done from the voting rolls in most municipalities. They get their jurors from the voting rolls. I tell people, I've been voting all my life. I've been voting since I turned 18. I've only been called to jury duty twice in my entire life. I've lived the bulk of my adult life in Wisconsin. I've only been called to jury duty twice. I don't miss elections. I missed one election that I was actually working on the campaign and was so busy, I forgot to go vote. But that's one out of 3 times in the course of that year that, or, from primaries to generals, that I missed a vote. But I've only been called twice. One of the things also, getting Black folks to understand, when you don't vote in Milwaukee County, in this state, you have a little likelihood of ever being called for jury selection. So one thing that I want to make sure we take the moment to realize, we can't serve on juries if people don't know how to find us. One of the ways they do that is through voting records. So another reason to make sure that we are engaged civically in the process, we need to be voting. But again, on the flip side, I vote, and in my entire life, I've only been called to serve on a jury twice. And it's been like 8-10 years apart in that twice. And of course, they put me off right away. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm calling because there's a meeting regarding people who went into foreclosure and the city sold their house for a profit.
Okay.
The assessor's office to appeal. But the meeting tonight is that it's the 8th tonight at 6 p.m. It's the Near West Side Partners corridor. Wait, I'm sorry. My eyes are going bad. Concordia. It's on Concordia, okay? 801 North 27th Street. And that'll be at 6 p.m. That's where it's going to be at.
801 North 27th Street.
Yeah, 807 North 27th Street. And that's definitely critical because so many people lost their house and, city sold it for a profit. So they should be able to appeal that and get some money back. But definitely call the assessor's office because they're trying to fight it in a way. So definitely call the assessor's office. But that law has been passed. So that might help out a lot of families. So I just want to get that out.
And thank you for that information. I'm going to look and see if I can find it too.
That's beautiful.
Oh, I just put, okay. Thank you, bro. I got it.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Yes,
so this came out, now this is actually in Waukesha where I see it, but it says, the law firms of Zimmer and Renz LLC, blah, 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 have filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of Wisconsin residents who have undergone substantial financial injustices due to unconstitutional property tax foreclosure practices written in Wisconsin statute. Several individuals have brought claims against the state, all 72 of its counties, and the city of Milwaukee, seeking to recover surplus funds unlawfully retained by the state and local governments generated by the sale of tax foreclosed properties. So the lawsuit alleges these surplus funds belong to the property owners. In 2023, the United States Supreme Court held this precise kind of practice is unconstitutional. They cite case law. Around the same time, Wisconsin enacted 2021 Wisconsin Act 216, requiring local governments to return surplus proceeds from future tax foreclosure sales to the original foreclosed taxpayers. However, this correction of the state statutes, which went into effect April 2nd, 2022, came too late for many former Wisconsin property owners and their descendants whose funds remain seized without recourse. According to the lawsuit, these surplus proceeds constitute hundreds of millions of dollars unconstitutionally taken from Wisconsin property owners and improperly retained for years, dating back as far as January 1st, 1989. So we will try to figure out and make sure, but the brother said the meeting is happening at 6 p.m., 801 North 27th Street. There is a law firm that's listed too. Paul Zimmer, lawyers 414-240-7320. And I know we've talked about this before on my show. And the city and the state and all of these counties, all these people know you wrong. You foreclosed on somebody's house because they owed you, let's just say, 3 years, 4 years of back property taxes. And let's just say you lived in a decent house. And so that property tax was maybe about $8,000-9,000 a year. I'll give you $10,000 a year on a really nice house, and you got foreclosed on. 3 years worth of property taxes, that's $30,000 plus interest or whatever. But that house is worth $400,000. You sell it, let's just say you sell it for $280,000. You get your $30,000 for the 3 years back taxes, and you kept the $250,000 above the taxes for yourself. In what world is that right? So thank you, bro, for flagging that. Got another caller. Let me get them real quick. Hey, caller, what's happening? Lord have mercy.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
That particular bill is called not stolen legacy. I'm sorry about that. Stolen equity. And your governor, he actually did that. That was a good thing that he did that. And he really didn't do it for the inner cities. He did it for rural areas that was using land. That were losing land, especially farmland that had been generationally passed down. So Governor Evers helped push. I think it's probably about 19 states that actually do that. It's called stolen equity. But I would say to everybody, if you lost grandma's house or something that will go into that time frame, you should be at that meeting. Now it don't make any sense, Michelle, that a caller have to call in and put the people up on this when you got older people that are just keeping it under wraps. See, this is the kind of stuff that burns me up. And then people call in and talk about me like I'm Uncle Ruckus. You know what I mean? Like I'm some type of Uncle Ruckus, because they ain't got nobody else to talk to or talk about. So I become the center of criticism.
No.
It's okay. Well, there you go. Look at you. You doing it right now.
No, let's be clear.
Be clear. What have I ever done to you?
It ain't about what you did to me.
What have I did to the people?
Once again, you are absolutely correct about the fact that this is information that should be readily made available. So I get the emails from alders. I'm on their listserv. I didn't see this one.
I know they ain't gonna send you that because you're gonna broadcast. You're gonna blow a bull on to the people.
Well, the other part of it is, remember, they're the person who stole the money, so they are a part. And I'm not talking about the alders specifically, but the city of Milwaukee is the people who stole the money. And while, yes, they work for the people, they also work for the city. So I don't know that.
But we are the city, Sister Michelle. We are the city.
I'm going to tell my constituents, hey, y'all need to come to this meeting if y'all houses was taken for city tax foreclosures. But they have two loyalties. They got loyalty to
not only city foreclosures. It could have been nuisance property. It could have been anything.
I got you. Right. Well, look, I'm up against the clock. I gotta go because it's Thursday. I got
right. That's right. Okay, I couldn't call you earlier.
But I'll tell you on Monday what I got against you. I'll tell you on Monday.
You ain't got nothing against me but love.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you later.
Nothing but love for you, baby.
Sing, Meech. You better sing, Doc.
Really?
I felt that thing in my spirit.
Okay, so that's a wrap for my show. So much I didn't get to, but I just had to spend time on some of these issues this morning. My man, Mr. Paris, is in the studio. He's back from his science fair. So want to welcome him back to the show. Jay, appreciate you, bro. Debo, wherever he at. Okay. And with that, it's my Friday. I will talk to y'all next week. Peace. Baby, yeah.
It's now time to take you live to the Northwest Funeral Chapel for a word of the good news and your Sunday school lesson with Brother J.C. Frazier. Brother Frazier, how do you feel this morning?